the rest of the way.
Hello, and welcome to another commentated Infinity the Game battle report. This is being recorded as part of the Remote Access League Human Edge tournament, which is currently in its fifth and final round. For this game, we have Kyle on the right playing vanilla Jing and Ryan on the left playing vanilla Aleph. Both players have already deployed. Ryan won the lieutenant role with a Whip 15 lieutenant and elected to deploy second on that on the left side, and so Ryan has elected. Kyle has elected to go first. The scenario, of course, is Supremacy, so Ryan is hoping to use his second turn advantage for scoring purposes. As always, this is a Human Edge event. Players can find out more about the Human Edge tournament on Discord or Facebook. You'll see some links in the video description. Additionally, this is a commentated game. If you're interested in having your own games commentated, please reach out via the comments section or to me directly to organise. I'm always happy to commentate other players. So deployment has already occurred. Jing player has deployed first, and we can just go through their deployment really quickly. This is an interesting list. I've reconstructed it partially, but I don't have the list code. But there are definite shenanigans going on. So firstly, this is a 2-combat group list, but there are only orders visible in the first group so far. There are a bevy of camouflage markers. There is a camouflage marker, an obvious long yar here, most likely a mine layer deploying an AP mine down there. There is, however, another camouflage marker on this roof here. Its mimetism isn't listed, but I believe it's mimetism 3. HVT is here. Zishuang has already moved forward from his existing position, leaving behind a Madra. This is a Celestial Guard hacker. This is a Moang NCO Spitfire, which has also already moved forward. This is a standard Krakot with metachemistry. We have another long yar here, again most likely deploying a mine. Another camouflage marker. Again, mimetism -3. Most likely one of these two is probably, actually is, a Dao Ying based on the 2 lieutenant orders, but which one we can't be sure. This one's a pretty good contender because it can just run into this corner of the table and be in a zone. There are also 2 camouflage markers and a deployed repeater inside this building. Both mimetism -3, and we don't really have visibility of what they're packing. And that's 10 orders are being generated by that total set. And my best guess is that is, I mean, that might be expensive if he's packing a whole lot of Dao Ying or Dao Fei, something like that. But it is hard to tell what is in the second group. Possible that it's just a single drop troop ready to be jumped into the first combat group when space appears. But yeah, there are some shenanigans afoot. Meanwhile, for the Aleph player, from left to right, we've got a Flash Pulse bot, a Warcore, his HVT, a Zion Total Reaction bot, supported by a Proxy Mark 1 engineer, all of the proxies and the Marut, which you'll see down here deployed as the reserve. Netrod. Inside this building, there is a Probot, just a repeater / baggage. Another Flash Pulse bot, Shukra Chain of Command, prone on this rooftop. Libertos deployed as a mimetism 0 and mimetism -3, so there's the Libertos' mine. Another Yad bot for the engineer, and then the Marut has deployed down here watching this long angle where she can very safely gut back into cover if something she didn't expect has a crack at her. We've also got a camouflage -6 marker deployed alongside the post-humans, and there should be a Mark 5 deployed around here somewhere as well, a forward observer, which we'll see, I'm sure, when it... Yeah, here it is. You can just about see it in the building there. Alright, so the first turn has begun. This Moang has used an order to move forward. I suspect there may have been a coordinate because Zishuang's also come forward, the Krakot's moved forward, it did not impetuous. But some orders have already been spent. 2 orders have been docked from this pool. So right now there are 2 lieutenant orders, 5 regular left, and that's it. And I think some of those orders are being spent on this Krakot, trying to winkle out this camouflage marker. Now this is a good play. The Krakot, this camouflage marker deploying up here, this might be a sniper. We know it's a post-human. It might be a sniper, but more likely it's a hacker. And if it's a hacker, that is a very annoying location for the hacker. There is a deployable repeater down in this building, but there are no visible, apart from the Celestial Guard combi rifle hacker, there aren't really any massive visible hackers on the table. And Jing also doesn't often run killer hackers. Now this could be a hollow masked killer hacker. That is actually distinctly possible. But sort of nothing else on the table can be it can be a Canren or a orbital unit, Tian Gao pretending to be something else. So there's a good chance that at least as far as we can tell, there aren't killer hackers available to deal with this. So he wants to winkle it out with the Krakot. The Krakot can intuitive attack and it can discover, but we've seen some dice rolled and it has failed to do so as far as I can tell. Krakot's whip, one of the disadvantages of the Krakot is the whip is only 12, which makes discover against this very, very difficult. And intuitive attack's more likely, but it's a post-human, it'll have no winning count. Even if it dies here, the amount of orders that are being spent to deal with this is very, very good. Very good for our Aleph player. So, you should be able to hear some of what the players are saying. I've tried to have their audio about balanced. Again, also, let me know in the comments if the player audio balance is balanced against mine and you can hear them, but not egregiously loud. So otherwise, look, we've just seen some movement forward. This is Supremacy. So this is Quadrant Control, rather. Great start. It's very similar to Supremacy, okay? So Quadrant Control, in terms of scoring, has no consoles. It is all about, you have it classified, but it is otherwise all about the quadrants, and I believe especially about scoring quadrants near your opponent's side of the table. What that means is that the Marut is a very powerful mobile piece that can potentially penetrate into either of the Jing defensive zones. Either this side here or this side here, most likely. I mean, she's got a straight line if she wants towards either of them. And so the Jing player has to make up some space to prevent that from happening quickly. Hacking will help a lot in this respect. The Marut is by no means impervious to hacking. All her only defense really is her BTS 9. But part of the work that has to be done is just clearing out the path. The other issue that I think faces the Jing player here is that it's not obvious to me what their potent offensive pieces are. The Moang is a very good offensive piece for brawling against lighter models. So, for example, it would be very serviceable to have the Moang run up this flank here and engage the Zayin turtle reaction bot. It's got mimetism. There's a good chance you get within 16. You've got plenty of orders and plenty of resilience. That's a fine fight, which will probably only result in the Zayin going prone, but you know, that's well and good. But there's nothing that I can see at the moment, apart from extremely speculative shots with the, particularly with this Long Yar, that has a great chance of engaging the Marut. This has a Panzerfaust. It's a burst 2 Panzerfaust, but we will see. So, what's happened here? So an intuitive attack has succeeded. So we're looking at the orders. The Krakot is hemorrhaging orders, but it has succeeded. It's failed its discover roll, but it's succeeded on its intuitive attack. So a chain rifle has hit the post-human, and the post-human has failed its save and then failed its guts. This is a very good play by Ryan because it's pulled it out of line of fire of the Krakot. And the reason why that is super relevant is that it's no longer... He's aiming to get it no longer in line of fire for a berserk charge. Now the players are just discussing whether or not it can move. Okay, so it looks like after some conversation.
I mean, we checked if you could legally fail guts.
You can just hear the players talking about this now. So the players are having a conversation here about what Ryan can do in terms of failing guts. And I'm trying to listen to it while looking at Quadrant Control on my phone. Yes, can terminate Quadrant Control is 100% a Quadrant Control scenario, including attempting to go after zones on your opponent's side of the table. So, the Krakot having... So, just to play out this interaction for us, failed to discover roll. It was correct of Ryan to do nothing against the discover roll because the Krakot had a very high chance of failing. The next thing to do is to... so... The Krakot has attempted to intuitive attack. Now, I think at this point it may actually have been correct to respond with a shot. The Krakot intuitive attacks with no negative mods, 12s. So the post-human actually has a 60% chance of being discovered. I think in that circumstance, without knowing what the Krakot has metachemistried up, we may have a... So it's a +3 physique Krakot. That's nice. But I think it was correct in that circumstance to shoot back with the post-human. Probably
what's your fizz?
These rooftops are actually quite big. I think it was probably to the best chance was to fire a solid slug against the Krakot to contest the face-to-face roll. Now Ryan elected to hold and do nothing, hoping for the 40% chance, which is the risky play, but the play with the highest payoff. Because if the Krakot fails its intuitive attack, that's it. It's gone all the way up into the roof for nothing, and it cannot do anything against the posthuman, having failed both an intuitive attack and a discover roll. As it was, it succeeded, got a wound through, and the posthuman took a wound. There was then a conversation around what the posthuman could do in terms of guts. Ryan wanted to make a 1-inch move this direction, prone, to get out of line of fire. The players had a chat and they decided that wasn't possible, and I think that's actually pretty reasonable. These bases are more than an inch wide. Not by a lot, but by a little bit, and there would be some corner movement to come around. That meant that the posthuman could not leave line of fire. Now in this case what's happened, and this is all the way up to the last order, the Krakot has moved forward, the posthuman has dodged, and it looks like she hasn't moved, but it wouldn't really matter, because the Krakot is in berserk range now. So the Krakot is coming in for this attack.
Oh, damn it. Does Spotlight have a +3? I don't think it does.
No, it's just...
And Ryan is rolling Spotlight for some reason.
Berserk, so
just kill it, Ryan. Just kill the Krakot. At this point, the correct play is not to leave the Krakot alive. Right? It doesn't have regeneration. It's just +3 fizz.
DA.
All you need to do is just shoot the damn thing until it dies. Their armor is only 1. Take it out so that it's not points in the zone.
Oh, did you see that 20?
As it is, the posthuman's been taken out by the Krakot, and I think this is a slight execution failure. I think at one of these points, the posthuman should have just unloaded a shotgun into the Krakot. I know that she is more expensive than it, and so there's sort of like an inclination to try and make it survive, but her death here, without killing the Krakot, leaves a resource available. It's also its points in a zone. Now, I still think, all of that said, this is a very serviceable turn for a defensive turn for Aleph. The thing about post-human deaths is that they do not rob you of orders, not even in the slightest. Additionally, I think the death of the post-human hacker isn't as big a deal as it might initially look. The presence of a repeater down in this building meant that she was inside the hacking area and firewall of probably multiple hackers on the Jing side of the table, and she's not a killer hacker. So she does not want to be in a situation where she's trying to, even with her very good whip, she doesn't want to be in a situation where she's trying to punch her enemy firewalls. She wants to be reactive, maybe even taking shotgun attacks and hacking things that are like vulnerable to hacking. So the fact that she is dead here, with that repeater down there, really is like, okay, of all of the casualties you might have taken, that's a very manageable one. It's particularly very manageable given that Ryan is going to head into his first turn with 15 orders to kill stuff. He's in a very good position to absolutely bomb some quadrants full of points.
Yeah, he's tucked in.
Now he won't know. We've got some movement here. This camouflage marker has moved into a zone because the 24-inch line is kind of like along here. So this camouflage marker has moved into a zone. This camouflage marker is already in a zone. Guifeng has moved into this zone. The Moang has moved forward. But like, all of this is manageable by the Aleph player. Now, the big question is, what will the Marut do? And we've also got, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, we've got 2 orders left. 2 lieutenant orders left that can be spent. My expectation would be suppressive fire on the Moang and move this camouflage marker forward. But if this camouflage marker is not, and the reason why I'm saying that is I kind of think this might be, Major Luna. But if this is a Daoying, then this is probably Luna. And we'll sort of see what happens. As it is, he's moving the Moang forward. Moving. And it's coming up to here, and we'll probably see suppressive fire. Because he certainly doesn't have enough orders to do much else. So.
Then I'm going to spend my other lieutenant in order to suppress.
Yep, there we go, and there's suppression. So, flipping over to the turn ends, and we've got sort of Yuqing having established a presence in like this kind of a line up the table, and having inflicted 1 casualty but taken no wounds from the Aleph player. Ryan's list is an interesting one, because it's running a Marut, obviously, but it's running the Marut to begin with in second combat group. So the second combat group out of the bat is a Myrmidian, which will be in a building somewhere. The Marut, the Zayan Rebot, and then just cheerleaders and the War Corps. So it's starting with 6 regular orders, 2 irregular orders. And then the first combat group is everything else, which is 9 regular orders, 1 irregular order. When you're playing a Marut, much like when you're playing an Avatar, you've got Strategos to flip things around between groups. And if you ever want to put the hammer down with the Marut, you can either assume that it has enough orders in the group that it's in, or you can absolutely fucking go to town with it by flipping it into the first group and spending all of the orders, which it does for free thanks to Strategos. The big risk, and it's kind of like risk in quotation marks here, is, well, firstly, he does have to deal with the Longyars. And secondly, it has to deal with whatever hidden elements the Yuching player has. And we know that the Yuching player has hidden elements because he has 2 combat groups, but nothing is visible in the second one. Now, that's possibly a drop troop, but it also, for example, could be a ninja hacker, which would be an off-meta pick. But there's probably points, at least probably points for a ninja killer hacker. Which actually would make sense and makes me wonder why. If he had a ninja killer hacker, I think he would have just used it out of the repeater to kill the posthuman. But anyway, so there's something hidden. Looking at points NSWC, I would be surprised if there's points for a hacking device hacker, but there might be just enough. It really depends on what else is under things. Also, there's a very good chance that this, I reckon if we put money on it, I think there's a good chance that this is a Daofei hacker. Based on how it's positioned. So one of the things that the Yuching player has is a hacking network, particularly with the posthuman dead. There's this repeater that's sort of like pushing out a repeating area here, and then if this is a Dao Ying, it's pushing a repeater area out here. So one of the catastrophic failure states for Aleph at this point, with their only hacker down, there are no more hackers, so you can't, there's no capacity to counter hack the Marut if it gets hacked in your active turn. Just to quick check, yeah, there is only 1 hacker in this Yuching, in this Aleph list, and it's now dead. So the Marut needs to think pretty carefully about how it might advance, and if it even wants to. I am looking at his options here, and my initial response, like the bloodlust response, is to move the Marut up this corridor and just dare the Longyar to reveal, and if it does, blow it the fuck away. And then move up this corridor here and engage all of this stuff. But I don't think that is actually the right play. And the reason why I don't think it is the right play is that there's a very, very good chance that this is a hacker. And you do not want to take hacking arrows with the Marut under the circumstances. So what that means is that what are the other options? Under the circumstances, I think it may be best to get the Marut onto this rooftop. And so from this rooftop you have plunging fire down into the Moang, not actually a ton else, but you can engage and destroy this Longyar.
What?
And you can get into this zone.
Deploy on your half guys. What are they called again?
Are you talking about Hundun?
So,
Ninjas?
how you would get up there, that would probably be the challenge, because you'd have to end up coming all the way up and around here to access the ladders. So there would probably be an engage the...
more than one hidden deploy guy. You're probably thinking of Hundun, unless you're thinking of hack.
Engage the Longyar, hoping to destroy it. Maybe even just baiting it out.
Yeah, Hundun.
Popping up to here, taking the ladder up, and engaging from this spot here. The other option is to move the Marut kind of like long lines along anywhere, or it's to come in and deal with all of this crap. Now, in terms of pieces that Ryan has available, this Libertos is probably not a bad choice. Moving the Libertos up into the building, up and around to here. He can look and deal with this. Like, there's a few different options, and then there's the Cracker on the rooftop, which he's never going to be able to get to, but that's okay. There are a few, so there's a camouflage marker in here, and I can't tinker with the building, but no, there is another camouflage marker in the building as well somewhere.
Let me think.
I suspect on the ground floor. Dealing with either or both of those would be really good. But the asymmetric defense that the Yuching player has built here is really nice. And I think one of the biggest risks Ryan takes is just slamming into it head first and they're ending up being hackers. Also worth noting that
So it'll just be
Daoying
the
lieutenants
cover.
are very
Whereas
often
if
the
we're
hacking
shooting,
profile.
you'll be on
Less
foot,
common in
but I
N4
think
because
some
there's
guy
a
won,
weird and
I
slightly
think,
unexplained
11.
discount associated with the base profile. It does not pay any
So I
extra
think
points for
the
having +1
odds are
order.
better that I just
But
hope you
in this
fail to
case, we
discover.
should. I mean, even if
So no.
even if not, we know that there's at least
Nothing.
one hacker from the Celestial Guard.
Discover.
Assuming that it isn't hollow masked, we should assume that there are hackers on the Yuching side of the
Ah.
table. So yeah, so Ryan has to decide how to make this attack. Does he use his disposable elements? Does he use his Libertos? Does he use his Mark V, which is, as we remember, in this building? All very serviceable choices. Or does he attempt to push up with the Maroon? And if he does so, how many orders does he dedicate to the Maroon? I think in his shoes,
It wouldn't have saved me, but the 4 was
my
also
inclination would be to
Yes.
would be not flip the Marut between groups. But okay, we have an engagement. So the Marut has declared it looks like discover shoot against this downtown Longya, and it has made the roll, and it has absolutely cranked the Longya. So good step 1. And if we have a quick look, and we can tell Ryan has elected not to move the Marut between groups. So all of my faffing about, we have our first engagement. I do not begrudge the choice that Kyle has made here. I think this not responding with the Longya in the hopes that the Marut fails a very long-range discover roll is totally reasonable. But as it happened, the Marut rolled a 3 to discover, and the subsequent shot cranked the poor boy.
I watched it the other day.
So obstacle 1 out of the way. And there are no visible engineers on the Yuching side. And Yuching does not, to my knowledge, have hidden engineers. It has some very good ones. In particular, Crick Cockram is an amazing engineer, but he is not appearing in this film. So the way now is open, and the Libertos is moving forward. We can think about what the Marut might come back to, and I think now the Marut is in a position where it could jump or climb up to here, or even just walk around to here and then jump and then climb and then occupy this rooftop. And that would make it safe from this hacker. The other option, and I think this is what Ryan is pursuing, is that he is moving up with the Libertos. And he's doing so to tease out what is in this space.
You do have stealth, right?
And I like that.
That's a great question. Hold on, I'll just
here's a question from the players. Does the Libertos have stealth? No, it does not. So, this Libertos is moving forward. This Mimetism 0 camouflage marker that is spent in a regular order is moving forward, but everyone in the audience will know that makes it a Libertos to engage some or all of this space. So we will see what happens.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep on moving.
So, something that is slightly weird here is that the Krakon has declared a discover.
I'm telling you right now, it's not going to work.
Oh, I see. Okay, so the Moang, right. The Moang has broken suppression to discover the Libertos as it moves past. I like that, actually, because the Moang, frankly, is probably going to need to start failing some guts rolls pretty soon in this turn. But for Ryan's part, he's just moved the Libertos past. Yeah, totally reasonable. So let's see what the and the Krakod is declaring a dodge. Let's see what I suspect that neither of these camouflage markers will do anything. But let's wait and see.
So I get to there, which is...
It almost rolled off.
Discover roll has succeeded, so yeah, it's a Libertos. And one of the things, I think the players have agreed that the Moang has, the Moang still just barely has line of fire to the Libertos. So good, it's broken out of suppression, but good roll. An interesting opportunity now is, does Ryan do anything about that?
What was the range on that Discover, sorry? Do you want to measure it out for me?
Great question. 11.
Okay.
10.9.
So
I think this would be a prime time to bring the Marut forward onto this rooftop.
No, I have a different man for that job.
But we'll see what he does. So there's a Myrmidian there. There's this posthuman here. So these are some good offensive options. The posthuman
so back to the first. Oh, yeah. Into the first
might get long yard if it yeets out of the building, but it's also very good at close-up assaulting. So
yeah,
let's see what it does. And it's got plenty of orders as well. You could also potentially cautious move. I'm not convinced it gets there though. This Longya has a really lovely line of fire into the alleyway. So what's the posthuman doing?
TR bot.
Marut's group too.
Yeah.
I guess they're basically.
And then just sort of lob a smoke grenade through that window.
Throw a grenade to cover.
Oh, this is an interesting play. So they've determined that
yes, I'm
yes,
gonna
there is
use-
this long
Yeah,
yar
just
in
make sure you
particular
get close
presents a bit of
enough
a
to see the
threat to
ground.
say the post-human moving
Yeah,
forward,
sure.
which is reasonable. It
Just have
does.
to do it that way, I
So
think.
the Myrmidion
Yeah,
in group
absolutely.
2 is going to spend an order to come around and cover it with smoke. I actually like this. That's really
there.
cool. Myrmidions are great, by the way. They're just really good.
Yeah, I don't think anyone sees them
16
yet.
points for what is functionally premier
And obviously
warband slash CC dude who
I
just
just
has
set
Mimetism
as
6.
far as much as
So the Myrmidion is moving up, and what it's doing is it's moving up in a way that it's keeping
There.
it's keeping all of these like
Okay.
high walls and everything in between it and the Longya. Now it'll be vulnerable. Ryan, I think, is going to spend another order on after this, but it's going to want to end up prone, ideally in the zone. But it's got a good chance of getting smoked down here. Other thing that's worth noting is that there's really a good argument for doing some coordinated orders at some point during this turn. Because they're a very, very efficient way of getting troops in zones. And we can already see, I believe that we've had one coordinated order from the Jing player, which accounts for how some of these models moved forward. So having something like a coordinate where X, Y, and Z moves up is a really good idea. Now that said, this zone can be secure just by spending the Warcore's regular order and running it forward.
Oh, if you get up on the
Probably.
table, yeah, it works.
If, well, actually, it depends where these things are. This is the halfway line. I don't think this model has moved.
Like Burger
I think
ad
this
here
model
was
and this
talking.
model
Yeah.
are both
You're
in
good? Okay.
Ryan's bottom left quadrant, and this model is in Ryan's bottom right. That's just my best guess, though. So actually, you're going to need to get some points in this zone or kill some of these things to secure this. A Warcore's not going to do it. A Marut will easily occupy whatever zone it's in. And the gold standard really would be to get the Marut into an enemy zone. It just, this excellent defense in this middle area has to be dealt with first. So Myrmidion's just moving around and is going to lay some smoke. Alright, smoke is down, and your boy is moving out, and he's just going to come in straight through this doorway. My inclination
Smoke right now.
would be to actually come up here, and then, so just in terms of exexecution here, right? In Ryan's shoes, I would be moving 4 inches up this way, and then into the building, but ideally keeping this in between me and the Moang. Now, there's a question if that's even possible, but I think this window, like if you squeeze in like this window here, that's your base, that should be out of line of fire.
What was that?
Come around to here, and then you can take the corner inside 8 on the Moang with your submachine guns, against which the Moang only has crappy range bands. It's got Mimetism, it's still a fair fight, right? It'll be 10s versus 10s, but you got 4 dice and he's got 1.
Just move through here without being seen, right?
I'm not sure. I might see you as soon, like, there might
And there's
be
a bit of
spot where you
conversation
just
here about
leave
where the smoke is.
and aren't up to the wall yet, and I still see you.
That's okay.
So just some conversation about how they're going to interact this, but I'm sure they'll figure it out.
This window.
So it's coming this direction. I still think this window was the right one to take, this closer in point. But they may have just decided that the Moang had a line. See, I'm eyeballing this, and I can see a line up and along here that terminates maybe a third of the way up the window, probably less. But in this case, he's moving up to here, all well and good, and then up and around. So this face-to-face roll has a good chance of being within 8, but not a certain one. Still, the post-human is cheap, and the Moang is going to have a really hard time putting it down.
And the guessing games begin.
So, let's see. Does Ryan just move up to have a fight?
I might be outside of 8. Alright, so another order. And I'm just going to move up to this corner here. I want to go as far as I possibly can.
Yeah, and he's executing this well. He's moving up as far as he can while still having cover, which is pretty far once they get the building state back. And it would be, I'd say maybe not quite that far, but very nearly. Actually, yeah, that's probably okay.
You definitely can't go any further than that. We'll say that's fine.
Yep. Alright. So, is this within 8? We will see.
We'll
and it's tucked back, so 2 inches up, 2 inches back, see the Moang. And the Moang's responding with a heavy pistol.
Alright.
That's a good ARO, actually. But, ooh, we are at 9 inches.
Are we
So,
at 0?
they're both at 0.
Okay.
They're both going to be on
What is
7s.
the range? Just out of curiosity.
Let's see what happens.
9.7, I think it is.
Really?
Actually.
No.
I think that may actually have been in good range.
It's 9.7 to where you are right now.
True.
Here it's like, we're still out.
That was, ooh, hold on.
I think they might be in on this, but this is going to be a careful measurement. Let's see how they come down.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, looks like in. Okay.
No, you are still on 10s because I have mimetism.
So it's 10s versus 13s. And the heavy pistol is also a very good ARO because it is shock. So good choice here, actually. I was thinking about the Spitfire, but it's always worth remembering your secondary armaments.
My heavy pistol, which is on a 13.
So let's see how this resolves. The Moang has the higher number, but the
4 shots for me.
The posthuman has burst.
Oh, I missed.
The Moang has missed, so three AP rounds into the Moang.
Yes, AP, sorry.
Pass them all?
But it makes all of them.
How you do it?
It's a very interesting question here about whether or not to guts.
So I definitely want to end in a spot I still see the Liberto.
Guts saves the Moang.
More work into doing this? I think I can. I have courage, right?
But this is really not a bad face-to-face roll. The presence of the heavy pistol is very useful.
So if I were to be like here, that'd get total cover, right?
Yeah, for sure.
While still seeing the Liberto?
Yeah, looks good to me.
Okay.
So the Moang has guts to leave line of fire of the proxy where it shot it.
I messed up the facing when I did that.
But stay line of fire to Libertos. So this is good technical execution. This is keeping the value of this troop intact. Now, he would still be susceptible to gunfighting from this rooftop if Ryan wanted to change gears and get the Marut up there, right? But that's okay.
Order on the old Marudi.
And so, indeed, she is activating. Now, this is the Marut's activation here. This is the part where things could come apart. If this is a hacker...
We forgot to put down, what's the names, by the way?
Oh, are those part of this mission?
Yeah.
Both players have just realized they've forgotten decompression zones.
Okay.
No arrows to that one?
Sorry, I got distracted by decompression zones. Where are you going? No, I don't have any.
So the Marut's moving forward. This is an interesting movement. So I want to see what Ryan is going to do here.
Probably didn't.
In Ryan's shoes, I would be getting onto this building.
Am I in a spot where Marut can just pop around the corner and shoot me?
No, I don't think so.
In Ryan's shoes, I'll be trying to get up onto this building, as I mentioned before. There is a possibility he will take the alleyway. If this is a hacker, that exposes him. Let's see what he does. Oh, something I hadn't even considered. He can probably just squeeze in those windows. Players haven't really discussed this, but that door might well be a sufficient size that a tag can squeeze into it. I suspect that they won't play it that way, but we'll have to see.
4.5 to that.
All right, she's highwaying into the danger zone. So while we wait for the players to see if a catastrophic state materializes for poor Ryan, let's talk about each of these players' lists. So the Yuching player, I think this is a really interesting list, and he's playing it quite well. It's a good mix of asymmetric defense and striking pieces, and disposable. A lot really depends on the fact that I have no idea what is in his second group. And when we see what is in that second group, a great deal will come to light. But the use of the Guilang, the Celestial Guard Hacker, if it's real, Zhishuang, this is a nice secondary, like the nice turn 2 defense if you need it. The only thing I wish it had but doesn't is an engineer. Longya are remote presence remotes, and really want access to an engineer that can back up it. Yeah, magnifies their value immensely. Okay, pausing up really quickly from that commentary. So, smart movements from the Marut. Despite the fact that it is out of cover, it is hugging this side of the alleyway. This means Ryan has identified this as a potential hacker. It also means that Kyle is in a position where if this is a hacker and he wants to reveal it, he's risking it for nothing. Additionally, Ryan is using this smoke to engage the Longya. Or at least to discover the Longya.
Yep.
Which means
415s.
So he's like this is despite that, like, you never want to take a Panzerfaust in the open. But this is clever. I actually really like this as a play. So this is making the absolute most of the position Ryan finds himself in. He had to lay smoke in order to advance through this line of fire. But having had to lay the smoke, he's now using it to engage the Marut. Now, the Marut's declaring Discover. It's going to be needing 12 Discover. This is a Discover shoot.
I have no idea.
Ryan's rolled quite well. The Panzerfaust needs a crit, and the Panzerfaust will be looking for an 8, I want to say. BS 11, I believe Longyas are. Yeah. And does not get it. So 3 shots get through.
3
hits. This is great. This is a really good use of the resources that you have already spent, and it knocks the Longya unconscious. Also worth noting, the fact that the long arrow is unconscious but not dead actually might be quite relevant to subsequent turns, because we know that there's a second combat group, the Jing player. If these things are unconscious but not dead, you can't flip anything into their space. But yeah, so this is good. It also very interesting is the fact that there hasn't been any attempt to declare an ARO with this, which means that, and I reckon, to be honest, he's just judged it's more than 8, and I think he's right. So, Ryan, if you ever come to watch this, hugging this corner, 100% the right fucking thing to do. This is really, really good risk management.
Mostly there to die, but
so I like this a lot. And very possibly the Marut can just continue in this direction and get to like here and to here, and this is good. This is really good, actually. Probably what you don't want to do is let Zishuang just fucking goop you. That would be pretty bad if he gets to lay a mad trap, but this is a great start for things.
Wait, did we see each other?
Who's that?
No.
Back to army analysis briefly. I quite like the Aleph list as well. This is kind of a gunfighty mirror to the avatar list that you see occasionally with Tegu creatures.
Okay.
So where the avatar list bandies the avatar's very high command abilities to both be an apex gunfighter and also be a incredible commander for a huge horde of troops.
I'm fine. I guess I'm fine either way.
The Marut is a cheaper model, which allows it to, and also cheaper SWC, which accords it a surprising amount of guns. So we know that there's a total reaction bot in here, and there's a somewhere around here there is a Dakini. I believe there is a Dakini heavy machine gun. I'll just take a quick look at the list that I have on hand.
No, we're good. We're good.
Is this the list? Yeah, there's a Dakini HMG in this list. Again, no supportware, right? You have to cut corners somewhere. But that's 2 decent quality heavy machine guns with a very good engineer, and it's got the Myrmidians, and it's got the post-humans, which are incredible skirmishers. So all of this bandies into a list that is sort of like the light mirror to the Avatar's Dark Swarm. So.
Right, 7.3.
Particularly, the presence. Post-humans are a lot more balanced in N4 than they were in N3, where they were broke as fuck, and I will never not complain about that. But the
go back over here.
Sounds good.
Sorry, there's just some dodging happening here. But by God, the ability to reserve deploy with Strategos, a Marut, and 3 post-humans, and the post-humans Yardbots.
Okay.
As a very, very part-time Avatar player, that is something that I wish I had access to, because, like, the fact that you can't reserve the Avatar alongside its engineering support a lot of the time, without making some sacrifices, is one of the few downsides it has in the amazing game that it plays. Alright, so to come back to the game very briefly. The only thing I would say is that Ryan's list has a lot of fight, a lot of punch, a lot of orders, great resilience, but it does make up for that. It does have to give up some tactical flexibility. It's bringing a bunch of like HMGs and close range assaults. It doesn't have any middleweight or flexible gunfighting. It doesn't really have what I would call like predator pieces, but it has amazing trading pieces. So like take this post-human for example. This guy is 14 points, something like that. 13 points and half in SWC. That's amazing for what you get, but he can lose face-to-face rolls still. It's just BS13, he has no mods, which we saw previously. So, and he's just had the Marut dodge into visibility of him, which means that if there's a gunfight now, it'll be 10s versus 16s.
Okay.
Nevertheless,
Gonna move 4 up this ladder.
Libertos is moving.
Okay. So here, I'll do that.
I'm a little skeptical on this Marut line of fire, but the players agreed it, and that is good enough. So not Marut, Malang line of fire.
Okay.
So Libertos is moving.
We are going to spotlight.
AROs. We have a spotlight, presumably from the Celestial Guard hacker.
And I don't think we're in good range, but I'm gonna heavy pistol you with the Malang.
Heavy pistol with the Malang is also a good idea, because it has shock. I would honestly be declaring a dodge with the Libertos at this point, but because it'll get you into discover shoot visibility. So it needs to be a crit from the Malang. Yeah, we've got a dodge.
isn't it?
The mowing's going to be needing probably
Yeah,
a 13.
definitely bad.
Yep.
So I need a 13.
Does the mowing crit?
Sweet.
Nope.
It does not. So the Lobotos gets to dodge, and the dodge will carry it
Spotlight
into
on
line of
14.
fire of this camouflage marker, which means that it can discover shoot.
Got it.
It is a spotlit Lobotos
That's
now, but it's a
declassified.
Lobotos. You don't care. There's also no missiles on the table. No guided missiles.
And the dodge from the Krakot, and you're in good range.
Cool.
So this is interesting. The Lobotos has moved up to discover shoot. That's actually really good. This is forcing this thing out. Lobotos can't intuitive attack. Not really, but it can.
Yep. Sure.
It can discover shoot, and it'll be discover shooting on 12s.
I'm going to put another order into...
It's worth noting his Lobotos is not facing correctly. Yep. It actually should be facing almost like directly towards his camouflage marker. Because the only ways to attack the Lobotos... Well, actually not strictly true, but anyway.
Actually, sorry.
Why is it moving?
Where he was. He's going to declare...
Yeah.
Discover.
There we go. Okay. Discover a shoot,
So
most likely against this boy.
12.
An interesting option Ryan actually has here is, so he's just declared Discover as his first short skill. If his opponent elects not to reveal, and you want to hedge your risk, you can actually discover place deployable. That's a legal skill combination. And specifically, this is one for the comments actually. Discover place deployable. Normally you couldn't just put a mine down next to camouflage marker, but this repeater is a legal target? Question mark. I think it is, but it's not a trooper. So I'd have to go back to the wiki and actually see the specific rules there. But I believe, very tentatively, let's call it like a 60% confidence, that the repeater makes the Lobotos' ability to place a mine
just make you
legal.
Roll it. So dodge the Krakot, discover unnecessarily with the Celestial Guard, and nothing with the camo.
Alright, camouflage marker's trying to hold.
Alright, I'm going to... Alright, so
it's going to be a discover shoot. Presumably discover a template shot because there's no point making hit rolls.
Yeah. Right.
But the discover roll fails.
My spotlight's irrelevant, but my dodge on a 13 fails.
Which is good, right? Like that's a good outcome for the Jing player.
Now that he's done it, he's just...
The Lobotos is spotlit, but that's hardly going to make or break. Something else that is...
don't have a chain colt anymore.
Very interesting to note is that I don't see anything that I think is worth points in this zone.
It's because they got rid of it when they gave the shotgun a template, but it means he lost intuitive attack.
I don't know if there's anything in this zone because if we go into the building,
what he would want to do right now.
The Guilang is sort of like underneath the Lobotos, which I think if the Lobotos just moves this direction, it might be alone in a zone. It's a bit of a gamble, but
same arrows as last time.
Yeah. So in the Lobotos' shoes at this juncture, I would lay a mine. And then I would sort of stop what I'm doing.
I'm going to place a mine.
Yep.
Or place a camouflage marker.
Right, but it's a mine.
Now the Krakot will be attempting to dodge here, mostly just to position itself in a zone of its choice. Krakot's got +3 phys, so dodging off 13s. And the Krakot's going to make its move. It dodges 3 inches probably? Yes, 3 inches. Now this is interesting because it would give potential line of fire.
That's good, because the mine can't hit both of us, right?
I wouldn't have thought so, no.
Now the Lobotos could choose to engage the Krakot, and it would not be the worst thing in the world. And the way that there's no way for a shotgun template to hit both of those. So I would be inclined to take this trade, but it's an interesting question. Ryan also does need to keep his eyes on the prize in terms of orders. Oh, he's lower than I thought. So he needs to get some things into zones.
He's right here.
This is a time to pause and consider because this is not a lot of orders. The Marut needs to be placed somewhere, and models need to be put in this zone to contest against probably the Krakot. The casualties, right? Like, not a lot's actually been done now that we're really looking at it. I think the defense is held really remarkably well by the Aleph player. The long yards going down is probably the biggest hit, but nothing else has been lost, so that's a good outcome. Really, what Ryan needs to do here is get points in zones.
Bot.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so it looks like the
Okay.
Zion rebot might be coming down and into this zone, in which case, good. Yes, please do that. Climb down off the building and end up behind this this yellow building.
Oh my god.
And that'll
There's
let you
way
outpoint a
better way
cracker.
I had of dealing with your whatever.
Let's see what it does. Ah, it's
Okay.
coordinated order. Excellent. Very good choice. So it looks like it'll be the Marut, the Myrmidian, and the Zion coordinating, leaving one irregular order, only 2 command tokens, but
Unless
that's
it's to run
fine,
away. I hope it's to run away.
to get
It's
forward.
definitely to live.
And this is good.
Okay.
The Marut
That's what I thought.
probably wants to stay in the zone.
Because Marut's kind of exposed there.
But
A
yeah,
lot.
get your dudes forward, Ryan. That's good.
Come in there like that.
Oh, to get cover from some angles.
Now I don't have full visibility here of what the deployment zones look like. And I'm really trying to. It's tricky to eyeball because there is a bunch of terrain that it protrudes off the back of the map. So I wonder if Ryan has put this Marut into or out of the zone. It'll be pretty relevant, actually. The Shukra can probably crawl forward with the last regular order, and I would be really inclined to do that if he wasn't confident the Marut's halfway up. But this Zion looks pretty good. I think this Zion is outside of the deployment zone. So yeah, this is a really good coordinated order. There's kind of a general question is it better to do this stuff early in the game or later in the game? Sorry, in the turn? Where do you do it like early to front load the effort and avoid any like nasty surprises, or do you do it late after you've accomplished the things that you want to? But in this case, I think the decision to do it late is fine, assuming that you're not. He's kind of just concluded that this isn't a hacker. Last order actually is to put the Marut in suppression, which is required the flipping of the third of 4 command tokens to make the Walker's order irregular. So yeah, just in terms of like how this is shaped out, this is Ryan has not scored, but he's done damage. He's killed a couple of things, but hasn't dropped them to dead, which is probably more useful than not.
Okay.
So he's really just playing for even score here. The last thing is that there's this one order, and he's using it on the post-human, which is not unreasonable, given the post-human's location. But I just wish that the Shukra was, because we know Shukra hasn't moved. I wish the Shukra was in this zone. Oh, actually, that's a point. The Shukra is on the 12-inch line. That makes me think the Marut is in the zone.
I do.
There's a little bit of parallax here, but that makes me think the Marut is in this zone, and if the Marut is in this zone, using that as the litmus test, then it's fine. Because they're not outpointing the Marut, and I don't believe they're outpointing the Zayan. So, all well and good. Fair enough. Post-human is just pulled back to a position of cover. It's going to have to survive a face-to-face roll with the Moang.
Can you?
No, I cannot.
Okay.
So it's going to move in next to that.
Cool.
Okay.
Probably a heavy pistol, probably a... You could actually throw an EM grenade at it, but I think you want to just survive. And to survive, you want the maximum possible burst. So in terms of analysis, I think Ryan has played this turn quite well. I also think his opponent defended very well. Some good choices about when to hold and when to reveal.
You hit.
1 AP run gets thrown the Moang, by the way. This situation with the Libertos, I feel like has been played well by all players. The courage to hold this camouflage marker, the dodge to move the Cracker Renegade up to C, knowing when to stop moving with the Libertos and make it your opponent's problem. This has been...
Let's have a look.
This has been an inconclusive but good engagement.
Oh,
alright, Marut's in,
okay.
Zion's in, Libertos, now here we go. This is a big deal.
So that's definitely more than I have, right? In that.
Where is the thing? Show me your secrets map. Okay. I think Ryan might be scoring this zone.
Alright, cool.
He is.
How many points do you have in this zone?
More than a Liberto, that's for sure.
With what?
This.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is cute.
Sorry, I just assumed that.
This is worth points.
See, that's why at some point you just have so many camo tokens that Okay. And
Now
I'm
this
going
is
to
this
lock
is super
everything
cool.
and actually
So
check what
this was
zone-
telegraphed, telegraphed as a mine,
Oh no, I don't need
and the
to
long yard
lock
is a
him
mine
until
layer,
targeted.
which means that this is
Yeah.
an AP mine.
Yeah.
And it means it has to be.
Okay, so we each get, is it 1?
That's weird.
I don't think we get. I don't think anyone gets anything.
I may need to ask the
Yeah, we
players
get
that
1.
question.
All right.
So this is a super. I've just chatted with the players very briefly. This is a super
Can I have
interesting play.
8?
So both the long yard absolutely are
Right?
mine layers,
I
and
guess I
both
should
have
take
placed
it
their
off.
mines. But there is 27 points in the zone, which means that
Okay.
this
so
is the
root
mine.
Is there.
This is 27 points, which I think makes it a Guilang.
That's a
And if it's a
problem.
Guilang, it probably placed this repeater, which means that both of the camouflage markers in this building are things that are not Guilang mine layers.
Root is there.
Or this is a Guilang mine layer, and the thing in here, I cannot see it. Come on.
Hopefully Krakot does that with his 1.
This could be a mine. So this could be a Guilang mine layer, with this camouflage marker being a mine, which means this is a Guilang mine layer placing a repeater. Regardless, it means that the 8-point Libertos has not outpointed the model in this zone. Very well done from the Jing player. Just straight up, ballsy, placed it looking like a mine. It's not prone, it's standing. It's in a position that's believably a mine, but it's also in a position where it's a little tricky to attack.
Are you ready?
In the next turn, the Marut could move to here to see it.
We'll say this long yacht into group 2.
Sure.
But yeah, very well done. So the score is 1-all. The Jing player is the Aleph player is very slightly up on attrition, but only very slightly. He's killed 34 points of troops, and he's lost 25. But the orders, are gone. So one of the long yacht is being flipped into group 1, and something into its place is being flipped into group 2, which is very interesting. So the Krakot is engaging the Libertos. It's impetuousing this direction. That's how you play that. You're moving towards the enemy deployment zone. The mine will detonate, and the Libertos will have an ARO.
I wasn't locked.
While they fix this, in Ryan's shoes, I would be inclined to place a mine as an ARO. The Libertos is not going to survive this turn.
I don't know why Yearly Peartoe got messed up though, because that was like the only.
It's all just popping back in now. I would be inclined to place a mine, because what well, maybe the Krakot dodges very well. A hit mode shotgun is also viable.
Toggles, lock.
Yeah, no, a hit mode shotgun is probably the right play, and the reason why is that the Krakot's going to want to dodge, and the Krakot has a low but non-zero chance. If the Libertos shoots, the Krakot will probably respond with a chain rifle because he's trying to free up space for this camouflage marker to move. Placing a mine is totally reasonable. So now it's a question of does the Krakot dodge? If the Krakot dodges, then no, he's not. He's shooting. Okay, so the Krakot is shooting the Libertos.
Okay, good.
Who dies?
Dead. And you take a single mine.
And the Krakot itself takes a mine hit. Armor is 1.
Nope, he's dead.
And the Krakot also dies.
Okay.
That's probably the best possible trade for Ryan. Well, no, the best possible trade would be the Libertos surviving, obviously. But assuming the dice fell as they may, the decision to place a mine rather than fire the shotgun means that these models are still under threat. So, and he's traded 8 points for 14 points, although the Krakot has, of course, still generated disorder. So that, I think, is very well done. Well, again, this is just nice. Like, I'm just watching the executional play of both players, and there are some really, like, minor differences where I'm like, oh, well, I might play that differently, but ultimately, I cannot fault how each of them is moving and executing. Once they know what they want to do, and they settle on a task, they're picking the right things. And there's a lot that's like interesting to learn here, because like the decisions to heavy pistol with the mowing, rather than fire a Spitfire or a Flamen Spear, that's like, well, duh, right? It's a better range band. But it's that kind of like small executional thing where you stop and you think of all of the options available to you, and you take the one that is mechanically the best. The mowing didn't win a face-to-face roll. But if he had, it would have been down to the decisions that Kyle made. And
can we see each other currently?
Sorry, there's a face-to-face movement happening here. It would have been down to decisions that Kyle made, slightly optimizing his options. Even just the dodges on the Krakot to get around into locations that it wants to be, set up that trade that he obviously wanted to make.
Which makes me
So
wonder if I'm better
overall,
off
I think that
coordinating
just this
something.
has been a really nice game, and this is the 5th round in a tournament. So you would hope at this juncture that players are kind of like finding their level. But this is really nicely, evenly matched, and I'm keen to see what happens. Now, the mowing is moving.
Thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It just means that I'm not a Nec 3 anymore.
Sure, that's fine.
So dodging.
And I'm good.
Yep, mowing's moved. The first move triggered a dodge.
And you're running away.
The posthumans just getting out of dodge,
Probably a good move.
getting out of line of fire. I like this, actually. That's a good move. The dodge keeps it away from the mowing, which is very relevant because now the mowing has to fight a Marut in suppression.
Or 12 or 11 or whatever.
I like that. This is, again, just nice execution. The dodge on the posthuman could have put it in any number of places, but he's put it somewhere safe so that now if the mowing wants to engage at risk-free, it's got to move. Well, it may not be able to move anywhere because the buildings are C into or out of but not through. The Marut is protecting the posthuman.
Here.
Oh, here we go. So,
Let me figure out where exactly.
the Lushing! Alright, so the hidden thing has revealed. I'm pretty sure that this is the only remaining hidden thing in the list. And it's your boy. Alright, so it's a Lushing multi-rifle. And it is trying to hard fucking land there. There are no hackers remaining on the ALS side of the table, so as a heavy infantry it is pretty safe.
Sure.
I think I need to back up a little bit. Here?
Let's see what happens. I mean, it may just whiff the landing. It's, what's it on? It lands on 14s, which is a really nice change, actually, because that's just some quality of life business. So, 70%. Drop it in. Alright, so it lands and the explosion goes off.
Dodge on
this explosion would entitle the Marut to change its facing.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm in combat now.
Yes.
Alright,
Okay,
so
I probably dodged a
the
little
Lamed has made its dodge.
but whatever, it's fine.
This is just some this is just some lovely triage. So, the Lushing has landed. It's CC20 with decharges.
I don't want to decharge a Lamed.
The Lamed has made its save, made its dodge, and has dodged into close combat. It's CC13 with a para CCW.
You don't have armor.
Um,
Alright. Is this Lamed going to be the new thing I waste all my orders on?
Maybe.
Now, a real interesting question here
on this guy.
Yep.
Is
my first skill is an idol.
Whether or not the Marut changes its facing using warning or alert or whatever it is when the Lamed gets attacked. And the reason why I say that is the Lushing is a real threat to it. And the Lushing is CC20 with decharges and has a multi-rifle.
Shock weapon rather than my decharges.
So
you bring me down to a 17?
Yep.
Well, let's see what happens. It's bzzzt versus bang. They tie in the first instance.
This is going to be the thing that I spend my whole turn doing. Alright. Yeah, I dodged too close to you. I should have been further back.
Just in terms of visible orders, Long Yar flipped out. This is the one to land. This is the CC attack. Yep, okay.
I shouldn't have gone for the explosion. But whatever. I did.
One of the things that that Kyle is saying is that he really shouldn't have gone for the cheeky explosion. Having now seen what's gone on, I actually think that this might have been a really good place to land. You can explode the Yodbot. No, actually it's a Yodbot, so I thought it was a Narod.
Moang's there.
Yeah. No. How interesting. So this face-to-face roll is like borderline a coin flip, right? Because it's 13s versus 17s. 17s obviously have an advantage. There are 4 numbers they can roll that can only be beat by a crit. But it's just 1 dice on 1 dice. And Kyle doesn't really want to spend his decharges, so he's just faffing around. Yeah, he's changing tack. He's got to do other things. And he's already spent 1 lieutenant order moving the mowing forward. He's got 1 left on the mowing. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 regular orders that he might be able to spend. That is enough to kill the Marut if he gets lucky. Yeah, very interesting. I'm just having to think about what to do.
Just barely not see anyone.
No, this is interesting. So, Guifang Zhishuang is moving? And he's moving
Good
not to
here.
have line of fire, including
Yeah,
to the
perfect.
maroon. I suspect he'll be placing a mad trap.
And that's my first skill.
Sure.
Probably to catch this proxy.
And that's my second skill.
Yep,
I'm
here we
gonna
go.
throw my other mad trap.
Good.
I wonder if this mine edges out the mad trap.
Zone. I think.
So he's
it's
placed
in
the
this
placed the
zone, so
perimeter
we would have
weapon.
to cut
It actually
over.
has to be placed. So if it's in zone of control of the proxy,
Or
but
you
not
just
the.
go
If
up.
it's in zone of control of the proxy, it is a legal placement.
Over.
If it is only in zone of control of the
Quickly
mine, then
over,
it is
but I
not.
think it's doable without breaking.
I'm sure the intention is that it's in range of the proxy. It's just, or even the proxy will be closer, but even the Meridian is another option. It just needs to go down there. I would say the posthuman can probably easily destroy this next turn, but
Because you're still there. You're
it does.
Still there, you're still
What
there,
it's going to
you're still
do is it's going to
there.
pin down the posthuman against possible engagements.
Spend another order on the Liu Chang.
Mhm.
All right, face-to-face roll is
skills
happening
and
again.
idle.
He's had time to think,
Sweet. Yeah.
and the flash pulse will be back. Just as a
I'm
note,
in
this is
close
a useful
combat,
thing to do. If
you.
you've got something that you think you can do that's productive while you are trying to solve some other problem.
Oh, good. Oh, wait,
Okay,
is that
the
your crit?
Liu Ching has won this time.
No.
Then,
Okay, good.
so
I
actually,
beat you?
two thoughts to follow. The first is that the Lamed has to make a save,
Yep.
and
you're
it
kidding
does. So I really think Kyle didn't want to spend. This is one of the first executional mistakes I think we've seen from either player, because there have not been many so far.
No, I feel you, man.
He did not want to spend the Liu Xing's limited decharges dealing with the Lamed. As a result, the Lamed is still alive. I seriously think that he should. You've got 3 of them. You can save 2 for the Marut. I think it was correct to just ensure the Lamed's destruction. By not having done so, he's running perilously short on orders, and there are going to start being like zone of control dodges and stuff when this thing makes a play. Anyway,
we're good.
back on that. He had to
phone
spend some
actually
time
recording
thinking
up,
about
but
what to
I
do with the
just
Liu
had
Xing
to
and whether to
check
continue to
a
make this
few
run
of
or
them
how he's
to
going to
figure out
execute
who
it.
was who.
A really useful thing to do in a tournament when you are under time restrictions is to do other things, productively spend other orders while you are processing it in the back of your brain.
Yeah, I'll keep going.
So he knew that he
Until
wanted to get
I
this mad
get
trap down.
paralyzed,
He just did
which is
it
probably gonna
now
happen this
because it
order.
was something that he could mechanically execute with his hands
Another one on the Liu
while
Ching.
thinking about what to do with the Liu Xing. The impetuous phase is also really useful for this. This is a silly and weird thing,
Close combat.
but I actually find myself a little bit
Another
lost
16.
when I'm not
Sweet, you get me.
piloting impetuous troops because I use
You know,
those.
if I were using decharges, I wouldn't be having this problem.
No.
Just you may have heard that from the players. The same face-to-face roll just happened where the Liu Xing won, but because he was not using decharges,
Yeah,
the Lamed made its armor roll again. And Kyle noted at the end of that order that if he was just using his decharges, he would not have this issue.
You know?
He is correct.
That is definitely where.
Back on that point, when I'm not using impetuous orders in a list, I sometimes feel lost
And I think
because
I'm
the
doing that
impetuous
enough
phase is a
that
really
I'm gonna
great way
spend
of
another order
just
on this.
seeing what will
'Cause if
happen
this
during the
works,
turn.
it's really
It
good.
sets some of the tempo of the turn without having to you're just doing mechanical execution. You can think.
Now mine.
I fail.
Oh, we got another face-to-face
Hey, I
roll.
hit again.
Okay, does it make it save
Come on,
again?
fill this
One more
armor.
save.
There we go.
Okay, so 3 orders later, the Lamed is dead. This is the first lost order. There are only 3 orders remaining
Now
on
we're
the
in
Liu Xing.
business.
Something that is worth noting is that at no point has the Marut chosen to
That I can't respond
change its
to.
facing,
Oh, actually, I could probably respond to
I think you could have dodged.
and the players
I
have
could, but
identified that that is an option.
I don't
So.
think you ever wanted to,
No.
but like you could have been dodging that whole time. I just assume shoot a tag.
I
in the
almost
back
want to
for
message
BP
Ryan
guy.
and say you could have been changing your facing this entire time through the
And
warning
my
rule,
first
but
skill's
it would
gonna
be a bit
move.
dodgy. I'm not going to.
So
But
that's
Ryan, if you listen to this,
3.2.
you could have been changing your facing this
That's
entire
another
time.
2. I still have
One of the really nice
0.8.
things about the modern Liu Xing is that it is
I'm
6'2".
just wondering, actually, I could.
Just remember, you do have to move like around that base.
Do I still, even with you
Yeah.
unconscious? Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, okay, they're just
So if I
checking.
started here-
Yeah, so the Liu Xing has to go 1 inch to there. This is just a proper movement. So maybe you can't vault over enemy corpses.
Right,
Yeah.
but I can't. The question is, do I?
This
I
is fine. It's
also
got
want
6
to
inches
keep
movement. It's
back?
totally okay.
Like pop back, and I think I do.
So
But I still should.
So
be
this
able
is
to, 'cause I
the
can just
second
barely
last,
see
third
you
last order,
and then pull back so I can't.
and he's moving back to here.
So, I'm gonna go.
At this point, the Marut should probably make a dodge.
Dodge. dodge for my
I
trooper?
honestly think there should have been some more dodges happening. But it's okay. Oh, some face changing.
Dodge for the Marut.
And so specifically the reason why I think that, I think the Marut should almost have changed her facing to be looking straight back at the Lushing. Because if the Moang shoots her in the back, what the fuck's it going to do? She's armor 14.
If the Myrmidon,
Armor 12. It's not going to hurt her. If the Moang spends its entire, every order just chunking shots into her. So this is another, potentially light executional error. The only risk to the Marut is of the Lushing getting multi-rifle shots into her back, and or just hard fucking shooting her, hard fucking decharging her to death. To stop that, the Marut wanted to be facing both of the ways it could approach. So I genuinely think the correct thing was to use warning or alert, whichever one it is, to just change the Marut's facing and maintain suppressing fire. And just accept that if that happens, the Moang shoots you. There are some other possible attacks, like boarding shotguns in the back, but they are well defended. So, Ryan has failed his dodge, and crit hit. So there is a very solid chance the Marut dies here, because of this decision to risk the AP shots from the Lushing rather than anything else.
Jeez. When you say it that way...
He takes 1 wound.
So fail 1.
Now, that was a potential catastrophic failure state that could have been avoided if the Marut had turned around. Now, imagine that those same 4 shots had been Spitfire shots hitting the Marut in cover. Doesn't give a fuck. It needs to roll 3s to pass. Every one of those was a success. Now, as it is, the Marut's gotten into cover, and it should be turning around to see the Lushing. Turn it all the way around, Ryan. It can still come this direction. But anyway. So that could have been catastrophic. As it was, it's fine. It's okay. 1 wound on the Marut and 2 orders left. The Lushing can still kill it, but it's much less likely to now.
Yeah, so I can see that corner.
6 inches of movement is less likely to get it around all the way to see it in the back here.
With my facing right now, I can see that corner.
Oh, yep.
Bit of a question as to whether or not the Myrmidon is in. Yeah.
You've got me for sure.
Yep, the Myrmidon's definitely in. I think there's a chance the Shukra is as well, but I'm less certain.
Trigger the med trap? No. Okay,
does not.
You're good.
Sweet. So,
does the Myrmidon make its dodge? Yeah, it does. This is really nice, actually. The fact that the Myrmidon can get up and around. The only thing that you don't want to do is end up with the Meridian in line of fire of the Moang, although frankly that may not even be that bad. I would try and get it to maybe like here.
And then put a chain rifle on you if you activate.
We will see. So Myrmidons can go 2 inches prone or 4 inches standing. I would honestly just get it standing. Get it standing, facing this direction, line of fire of the Luching, line of fire to the Moang.
So I'm going to...
But he stayed prone?
Do nothing, because I want to have cover if you do push the Moang up. So yeah, he's going to stay where he is.
No, I think this is a mistake. I think the loss of the Myrmidon would not be the end of the world, and the Moang will struggle to kill it anyway. He's on 7s against you if you're in cover. I would go 4 inches around to here to see the Luching. And like literally just to face, it's just an obstacle that he has to get to deal with.
Yeah.
You've got very good, mimetism -6 is great. But okay, I think the Yuching player has to be happy about the fact that nothing went down there.
You only need to do 2D.
Shukra definitely has a zone of control, so the Shukra probably would just be trying to dodge into the zone.
Yep.
Okay.
But it fails.
That is correct.
Yeah. So I think this is I think there are some mistakes being made at this point, actually on both players, and they're really, really minor, right? Like, I have the privilege of sitting here from a high angle looking at everything. But this is where I see very, very small executional errors creeping in, and it's just because the game is becoming a hot mess. Look at this game state. It is like...
What's my
it's wonderfully messy. No orders left, things have to be done, the score is tied up, casualties are being inflicted but not enough. 2 orders versus, yeah.
Like, I want to run up, dodge into CC, and then decharge the Marut.
So yeah, I would be doing a couple of things here differently. The first is I would have the Myrmidon standing, because if the Myrmidon dies, that's only 16 points, and it's got a very good chance of holding up both of these troops for a while. Ideally, I think you want it kind of...
I can tackle that thing.
It's very hard to be in cover from both of them, probably impossible. You might be like, can I get in cover if I'm on the dining table? But probably not. But you want the Myrmidon to die before the Marut. The second thing is this entire time the Marut should have been changing its facing so that the Luching couldn't engage it the way that it did. And if that means giving the Moang a shot, not a fucking problem. Frankly, the Flamen Spear is a bigger threat than the Spitfire because it's continuous damage in a template. But yeah, so it's very very minor things.
No, I'm going to move this because I'm actually going to go over it. I'm going to spend another... Oh, nobody's prone anymore. You're unconscious.
Yep.
I'm going to spend another order on the Liu Qing.
Yeah, Liu Qing's activating again.
The first skill is going to be a move.
Now, I wonder if he'll move around this direction.
I'm going to come this way.
Yeah, he is.
Sure.
Okay, he was thinking that he could vault, but he can't.
Case,
Order is still spent though.
maybe
What's
I
he gonna
don't
do?
this,
It's worth noting that even though the Marut is in cover,
I can't
an
do
AP
what I was
weapon is still a
trying
threat
to
to
do.
it. It saves on 7s against an AP rifle, but that's not a number that you really want to be making when you really not a number that you want to be rolling against when it's like you're the biggest model in your army by a massive margin. If you can pull this off, it's game winning. I think the Yuching player has correctly identified that a kill here represents a probable, not certain, but probable win. Just because of the points the Marut is involved, is associated with, and this strong point in the middle of the table with the camouflage marker is increasingly difficult to assail.
The multi-rifle, if you're in cover. If I do
now, a very interesting question is how does the Marut ARO against the Liu Qing? Does it heavy flamethrower, or does it fire an explosive round needing probably, but not certainly, 9s? They did get to measure that range before. I think that's within 8. So, do you fire an explosive round on 9s to contest the face-to-face, or do you flamethrower it to try and kill it so that it can't do it a second time? There are only 2 orders left. Honest to God, your answer might change based on that fact. If it had a lot of orders, you'd flamethrower, because it'll just keep trying. But if it's got only 1 or 2, maybe you just want to maximize your chances of survival. Which you could dodge, but don't dodge. Fire an explosive round. So it's moving out to see the Marut. Now here's an interesting play. This movement will strip the Marut of cover. And he's doing that because of the risk of the template. Now I think this just straight up makes the right play for the Marut to fire an explosive round when he breaches this cover here. But it does... This is the high lethality play for everyone. No one has cover. I like this a lot. The Myrmidon will almost certainly try and dodge into close combat. This posthuman will have a chance to move. Fuck knows, maybe this mine should detonate, but the Marut should fire its explosive round.
Well, because it's one die.
It is still better than dodge.
I think that mine would detonate in through the window.
And the Myrmidon will dodge.
Okay, I'm going to Oh, what did you say? The Shukra was dodging too?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, here we go. Face to face. Oh, the Centaur.
Mad Trap too.
Interesting question here is the posthuman in Mad Trap range? Almost certainly. Absolutely, the posthuman should have tried to dodge that. Its Fizz is 13. Oh, its Fizz is only 11. It went down.
Mad Trap is one of the adhesive ones, but I think dodging actually lets you face to face it.
Yeah, sweet. Sorry,
I think the posthuman should dodge here. Something has to detonate this Mad Trap. Although the Shukra could do it. It's kind of low risk. The Shukra could easily just be like, I'm going to take this Mad Trap at some point during the next turn. That's a very interesting choice. So he's decided not to dodge with the posthuman.
Okay, well in that case...
I think he probably should have. Because the Liu Qing has seen the posthuman.
I should have moved, so I did. I'm going to put 3 AP rounds into
but he's just firing into the Marut, which is fair enough. I think it was correct to dodge on the proxy, but there is a reasonable argument to be made that next turn the Shukra will just move 4 inches, trigger the Mad Trap, and then... Cool, like it's on a rooftop, it's not going to die. We will see.
Okay.
Alright, so...
face to face.
12's for me, 16's for you.
Firing an explosive round.
Ooh, okay.
So an 8 beats a 15, 8 beats a 3 but not a 15, so 1 round gets through. And fails the save. Just barely. So that's another wound on the Marut, and it'll guts back this direction. Now, you don't do the guts roll yet, you do all of the other movement, and it'll be very relevant to see if the Myrmidon passes the roll.
I thought the post
for the
It does. So, the Marut should guts.
Oh, does he dodge +1?
Yeah, +2.
+2 even. Yeah, okay, so he can get into CC with me. That's
so,
fine.
The Myrmidon has gotten into close combat with the Liu Qing. Excellent for...
shooting any...
now, so this juncture the Marut just wants to not die. There's 2 orders potentially left that can be spent on this Moang. And she's moving up to cover there. Yeah, I think that is a very reasonable choice.
Yep.
Okay. And then, does Shukra want to do anything?
Yeah, because it's just a free like 25 points in the zone, 24 points in the
So
zone.
this is a knife edge here,
on the line.
and very, very well executed.
No,
Come on,
I thought about.
I don't want to have to spend an order on you, idiot.
I thought.
Something that is very interesting to
'Cause,
note
like,
here is that there's going to be a temptation for
I don't
Ryan
know, do
during
we
this
see
game
each
to spend this
other
last command
here?
token. He should not,
No.
under any
I don't think so.
circumstance, unless it is his
I think
last
this
turn.
thing's too big.
Yeah.
No, not even then. Well, actually, yeah, sorry, if it's his last turn. And the reason being
So
is
I
that
won't
there are
see you
still
until
hackers
I,
on the
like,
board.
get up past
He
it, or
must prevent the Marut from being possessed, or if it is possessed, be able to take it back
Oh, do we see
when he
each
goes
other?
into his last turn.
No, we definitely don't. Nope, we don't.
So I will be watching
Yeah,
Ryan's next
okay,
turn pretty
so I'll keep
closely, and if he
moving.
spends this command token to either move models between groups, do a coordinate, or make the war cause order regular,
Arrows?
he has made a mistake. Potentially, again, maybe nothing, but potentially game losing.
Boom.
Mine blows up.
Posthuman wanna do
I actually
anything?
honestly wonder if the mine could have
At this
detonated through
point,
that
I
window
think,
into the
yeah,
looshing, but much of a muchness.
So posthuman's going to dodge.
And now the
Hey,
posthuman will
yes.
dodge, and it'll trigger the mad trap, and hey.
What happens?
Could have done that last turn.
12 is going to be a
Fails.
fail regardless, so
So it needs
Okay,
to roll a
so it's a
5
fin
to
-6 roll
succeed.
to not
yeah,
get
on a
glued.
5.
Nope, so the posthuman is
Yes,
glued. Now the posthuman is going to be able to keep making dodges whenever the Moang moves,
Excellent.
and, you know, maybe it'll break out, but it's points in zones, maybe it'll die, who knows.
And what were you going to do with your second half, sorry?
Oh, and the Moang has taken a wound from the mine. Now, this is...
Oh, I got one order left.
It's a real question here
for
as to whether or not
technical,
the Moang tries to kill this posthuman or not.
because I
think it makes the
can
money
see
play.
posthuman without seeing the-
I think it just goes for the Marut, right? You just hope that you win the face-to-face roll and force a 2. Because it's so very good if you
Hold
succeed.
on.
But
Can you do... No, you don't want to do it. Don't want to see the posthuman, because I want you to be dodging on a -9 to get out of this glue rather than a minus...
Can I get out of it?
So you can dodge at -6.
alright, so this will be 13s for the Moang,
So it'll be
12s for the Marut,
range,
4 dice to 1. The Marut has a very good chance of
Perfect, 'cause I'm
survival
on
here.
13s.
Your chances of being killed by a Moang,
Oh no,
ooh,
this is bad.
ooh, are...
Oh,
But
there's a crit.
there's a crit. So 2 saves on the Marut. It needs to roll at least a 3 on either of these.
Yeah.
Important to note, it cannot die.
Got
It
him.
passes both of
Oh,
them
that was close.
just.
Yeah, that does put him down. But that's your last.
All right, that's my turn.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
3. Damage 14. Yeah, so we have an unconscious Marut. 3 being a fail, it's armor 11, it's not armor 12 in cover.
So, here we go.
Now, Ryan's not in loss of lieutenant, and the Marut is repairable. But the Strategos effect, etc. is lost. He has at least answered the question of whether or not he can get the Shukra into this this zone easily. He will do so by spending a lieutenant order. Couple of things happen easily. Firstly, the Myrmidian's going to try and kill the Lushing. Failure here is actually going to be pretty catastrophic. Myrmidian has a good chance of winning, but not a certain one. Martial arts helps it a lot.
Now that the Marut's dead, I don't need to or down, not dead, because you still have that engineer. I don't need to conserve decharges.
So we'll have a face-to-face roll between the Lushing and the Myrmidian, which is 24 to 17. It's actually the Lushing can definitely fail that. I'd definitely win that rather, much the same way the Lamed could. If the Myrmidian dies, I suspect this Zayn Rebot comes in for the kill.
Yep, still beats me.
Ooh, so decharges land on the Myrmidian. 3 saves.
It's not a crit. There you go.
Pass, pass, fail, unconscious. Now, the Zayn Rebot, no, there's a Marut in the way.
Right?
Well, he should still attempt to repair.
Okay.
That's pretty bad for Ryan, and is the thing that sometimes happens with Myrmidians who have only CC21.
Yeah, no, this
He's still got orders, let's see what he does. Yep. So the engineer, as Yudboy is moving forward, it would be correct to move the engineer forward as well here, if the option arises. I'm just looking for angles that the total reaction bot might be able to see the looshing. And I think it would have to, if the total reaction bot climbs up this pipe using climbing plus, it can see the looshing, but the looshing is in cover, and there's a good chance that's within 16. It might not be, but there's a good chance, which would be a pretty mediocre face-to-face roll.
1.3.
Checking points costs, the Zion is also
so 2.4, so 3.7.
25 points, which means that a Zion plus a war correspondent can outpoint this camouflage marker in this zone, which has a good chance of getting Ryan runs on the board. Particularly if he can get the post-human down in... Is this corner? Yeah, and I think this building corner is in this zone, so the post-human should be moving up to fill that space.
Are you... So that's your first move?
So Lushik's got a dodge here. Something I want to know is where the fuck is Ryan's Dakini HMG? Because I know he's got one in this list. I just haven't seen it. If he didn't deploy it, then Ryan, you didn't deploy a Dakini HMG. It's probably in a building somewhere. I can see a prone marker down there. That might be a Myrmidian.
Is the post-human gonna move?
Yeah, that's the Dakini. Okay. So this Dakini could potentially pull back to engage the Lushing as well.
Okay.
Now this is very nice. The Yudbot has actually moved around this direction. It's moving to fix the Lamed, and then around here
Second half is going to be
to... Alright, we'll just moving. I actually think it should have ended up something like prone next to the Lamed. Because there's no way that this Lushing is seeing that, and then coming around. So again, very small executional error here.
Yeah,
It should have ended up here, so that it could move 6 inches and get around.
I did, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it would be easy. It would be easy to be here and not in line of fire of the Lushing, even if it moves.
So I don't need to figure out what I was going to do.
Cool.
Yeah, I think, but he's still even now, right? It's okay. He needs to fix the Lamed. It's for free, right? Because 6 inches will end you up here. Yeah, okay.
So he's going to move.
Oh well, that's okay. The Marut that is important. But I think, based on how he's been spending his orders, that he could have, at no opportunity cost, at least had an attempt to fix this Lamed. He didn't. Not the end of the world.
Sure.
Probably do.
This positioning of the Yudbot, though, is very good, specifically because it's approaching the Marut from a position where he gets many shots to do so. Among other things, this means that if he injures the Marut in repairing, he can avoid spending a command token because it's a remote presence tag. Just try a second time.
For her, like, not enough points, but still points in the zone.
Well, you know, it's an extra however many. I'm just going to move up to there.
Okay. So I'll dodge.
Okay.
Alright, so the Marut is back alive after a successful repair, and 5 orders to spend that.
Yeah.
The Marut is also in group 2. The Lushing is in this zone.
I think we see each other. Like, I ideally would have been out, but I don't think I could have been
And
out,
line of fire.
been in the zone, and had cover.
It's really worth noting how kind of disastrous it was that this Lushing beat this...
Moang, because Moang didn't.
how disastrous it is that the Lushing beat the Myrmidian in close combat. The fact that the Lushing is alive and that the Myrmidian is not around to throw smoke is really bad. Still, he's activating the Marut, and she's going to take some fights. There's a good chance that this is going to be just status quo, kind of a draw. I would love to see some kind of a play. I don't know if he's got the orders for it.
Okay.
He just might not, because the Marut has to stay in this zone to outpoint these things.
Don't think there's a way for me to.
I also don't know what Ryan's classified is, but that's okay.
I think we're good there. All right. Yep. Sweet.
All right. I'll DA shot and Spitfire.
Sounds good. I'll go 2 and 2.
The Marut is trying to fight the world. Something that is very relevant to note here is that the Marut's movement has carried it to a position where there will probably not be many successful future attempts to doctor it.
Yeah. So roll that 9.
So can I shoot? Oh no, I have to measure it from the
13.
Hit you on a 3.
Oh boo. Okay, so armor 3. I'll fall back.
So after this face-to-face roll, the Lushing is fine, the Marut does not take a wound, and the Moang takes 1 wound and falls back into cover. And there are only this many orders left in the pool. Now, under the circumstances, I would be making this play. I would be spending 2 orders on the Zion Rebot. Oh, he can't, doesn't have the orders to do it. Okay. going to say this Zion is in group 2, if I recall correctly. There is no way for him to outpoint this 27-point camouflage marker. Not with all of this stuff still alive. So he has to play for status quo again, which is not what you want to be doing. The Shukra should just be spending a Lieutenant Order, by the way. It just should be.
Sorry, that was the Moang?
No. The fella at the back there.
This guy?
These defenses are challenging to engage.
So he had been positioned to just barely not see anybody.
Yeah. But if my Marut gets to here, I think I can slither the end of
Probably,
it.
yeah. Yeah. Then
Something else that is well worth doing with the first combat group is repairing the Marut back up to full.
or not.
So this is just a face-to-face here. Zhishuang is far enough out that the Marut can see and shoot. He will probably die, but not for certain. Is that Moang prone?
Sounds good.
Might be. No, I think we're within 20.
I'm gonna hit you with that.
So yeah, HMG is going in.
Yep.
With 3 orders in the first group, it's honestly very tempting to fix the Marut up to full while the post-human is back up here for some reason. I assume Ryan thinks she's in the zone.
Definitely within 24. I'm on the 17.
Yeah, this 1 wound remaining is not a lot. It's a remote presence tag. I don't want to spend this command token is the thing.
So that's 4 saves.
4 saves.
It's a precarious position, very much for both players.
Yeah.
I would love it so much if this Lamed was conscious. This Lamed being conscious would make a massive difference to pinning in the Lushing, but it is what it is. The Dakini HMG also needs to get involved in this fight at some point.
No, nothing in my army has it.
Have an arrow to this.
Shukra just moves forward with his Lieutenant Order. I think the correct position for this Shukra to end is prone here looking at this ladder, because one of the risks is that the Lushing comes all the way up and around here and executes him.
Alright, so that's where the prone...
A weird dumb play, and it is a dumb play, would be to move to here and shotgun the Moang.
So bases are touching. So
or go 3 inches from
but the height differential there is like...
So I'm just gonna go...
I mean, it is... This is what we in the business call a fucking ballsy move. But the Shukra does potentially have a kill on the Moang. I'm not convinced that's good range, which means that it's going to be 2 dice 12s to 1 dice 13.
I guess I'll declare with the Moang. I should have in the first place.
No, if you were going... Sorry, I thought you wanted him to be there for some particular reason, dude. Like, if you want to...
No.
Let's see what Ryan does.
It's fine.
Alright, so I think Ryan is about to make a fucking mad dog play here and just have his Shukra Lieutenant attempt to kill the Moang. It's going to be 2 dice 8s. Like, this is... I don't think that's within 8. If it is within 8, and because you measure from closest point to closest point, so it's actually like from the building lip to the top of the Moang. Oh my god, what a fucking... If this works, it has a very good chance of sealing the game, because it lets the Marut leg it this direction. Because the Proxy and the Shukra collectively should be more expensive than the Lushing. If it doesn't work, Ryan loses, because his Lieutenant just died, and he doesn't have a 3rd turn. Not necessarily loses, but basically his last turn will just be running things into his friendly zones and playing for a tie, and hoping that his opponent does not secure the HVT, while he does. Which is a potential play. A win is a win is a win. Particularly in an event like this. So, this is interesting. I'm not even going to say this is wrong. If he does not feel comfortable with how all of this setup is arranged, then this is not even remotely the worst play. Let's see what he does. He's chicken shitted out. I mean, that's fine.
I'm trying to fix the thing again.
Now, having chicken shitted out, the big mistake is that the Shukra is standing, and it's facing away from this ladder. And this, I don't know what the fuck this is, but I think it might be Major Luna. And if she moves all the way around to here, she's going to blat that guy dead. So, the indecision here may be critically dangerous. If this model is Major Luna, it moves to here and it shoots him dead, and Ryan loses the game because of it. That really sucks, basically. because he didn't commit to the plan. Now, committing to the plan might have lost him the game in any case. We will never know, but I'm going to randomly pull out some d20s and just kind of see. Dice fall well they may. Okay. My sample size of 1 suggests that the Shukra would have died, but it would have been very funny. And if the Shukra was in template range, and there's a non-zero chance that it is, to be perfectly honest. Template being slightly longer than 8 inches.
What I do is end my turn in possessed. So one more order. So last order in group 1.
What is Ryan doing?
There.
That'd be great. Just turn 3 is the Marut turn.
Yeah. And just repair one more time. Try to repair one more time. Back up to 2 wounds.
More repairs.
Oh,
a wound has been placed on the Marut. He's going to have to reroll. So here comes the last command token.
Okay.
Sweep and the reroll. Oh,
no way. No way.
So that's very possibly the game.
Oh.
You can hear the players commiserating there, and I feel very bad for Ryan here. As far as I can tell, the post-human has just rolled a 17, a 17, and an 18, attempting to repair, including with rerolls, on the Marut, which leaves Ryan with no command tokens and an unconscious Marut. Now, he's not lost a lieutenant, but these models will now be worth more points than the Marut more points than what's in this zone, which is probably going to put the objective points at something like 4-1.
Yeah, no, that's frustrating. On this, what is 15?
The odds against that, with multiple orders and a reroll, are stratospherically low, but they're not nil. It's about a 20% chance, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 25% chance per roll to fail. So a quarter of a quarter is 1 in 16, a quarter of a 16th is less than 1 in 70. About 1 in yeah, anyway. It's a very, very low chance. It happened, and it really sucks. 2 pieces of very bad luck this turn, actually, to be honest. So Ryan's turn here, I think he was in an okay but not great position, having to repair the Marut in the first place, but he wasn't lost a lieutenant. But bad luck has made what could have been an okay turn catastrophically bad. The Myrmidian losing to the Lushing was probably about a 1 in 4 at an eyeball. Lushing has a high CC, but Myrmidian has a positive modifier of +4. So there's a very high chance the Myrmidian kills the Lushing. That it didn't, and then this on the Marut, in addition to the Marut not getting any kills, has produced a really, really bad outcome. Now Ryan can potentially, but not certainly, play for a draw, but it's very, very unlikely at this point, because Quadrant Control offers more points for Quadrant Control offers more points for dominating zones next to the enemy deployment zone. So the turn, even points last turn puts objective points on 1-1. So the score is now 4-1. With the Marut almost certainly getting killed next turn as well, because the Lushing will just jump out and coup de grace it. There is no chance. Not sure. Is he done? He must have done classified.
3 camo tokens in the
He did. He's done telemetry. So the score is 5-1.
Celestial Guard's
At
still
this
up,
point,
still up. So I got 7 in my 2 lieutenants.
it is not functionally possible for Ryan to win. It is only possible to play for a draw. And that draw is extremely unlikely.
Harder than I thought it would be.
Because he is probably going to be a lost lieutenant if Luna kills the Shukra, and all he needs to do is coup de grace the Marut, and there is no chance for a king piece to be on the board. Now, in terms of possible ways out,
I think that the right play is to just find some way to just kill the Shukra.
If the proxy manages to dodge out of its mobilization state and becomes a hero and kills everything,
by the TR bot,
and everything bounces, then maybe Aleph can play on through and play for a draw. But it's not likely.
Which means
we're going to just pause now, and we're going to touch only on the high points for the coming Yu-Ching turn, and then we'll see what Aleph might be able to do, if anything, to recover the situation. Alright, so recap.
Man, I'm not going to lie. This game
really?
Is,
so two notable casualties. The first is that a Guilang forward observer
root on
has
those
moved
guys.
up to destroy the Zayan Rebot that was hanging out here.
Rough.
Surprise shot, crit hit, took it out in one go. Almost all of the rest of the orders were spent on the Moang trying to kill the post-human, which is this silhouette, that crit its dodge to get into the building. Everything else was the Lushing engaging and destroying the Marut, just firing at it with its AP rifle until it died. It didn't try and make the run over to Kudagrar it. So that leaves us with the Lushing here, the Moang here, post-human active, the Shukra alive, the Moang in suppression, and basically Ryan well out of points, heading into his third and final turn. So in terms of a plan for this turn, because yeah, the first round was a tie, the second round was 5 points to the Aleph, to the Jing player. In terms of points in zones and what to do, I feel like there needs to be a mix of killing and bold-faced luck. And there are only so many orders to do it with. It is not easy. I think there needs to be a Specfire kill on the Moang, Specfire on the Moang, or just straight up just be like, nope, I take the face-to-face roll and just move the post.
So I got 7 orders and...
Well, that's loud.
2 and 1?
Best case scenario, post-human kills.
What do you mean?
And these troops are worth more points than the Lushing. And then you need to get quite a lot of points in this zone, possibly more than he has.
I see.
You could maybe do that by having the Dakini TAC-bot come all the way around here, discover this and kill it, and then discover this and kill it. Which is a challenging but not impossible play, but there are no command tokens left. Combat Group 2 for Ryan right now consists of 1 Flash Pulse and the... 1 Flash Pulse and... I'm not even sure what else. The War Correspondent and the Probot. Okay, so it's a bit of a shame that these orders cannot be used. I mean, you probably have the Probot run into a zone, like crawl out of a window or something, or just have the Warcore move forward. Yeah, that's a bit of a non-starter, unfortunately. So really, there just aren't going to be enough orders here to make really big plays, but you can push your luck. I think the play is Specfire with the forward observer to break the Moang out of suppression. Lieutenant Order with the Shukra, just to hope to kill it. You're just trying to hope to kill it once it's out of suppression.
So first things first, I'm going to...
and then you run things into this zone with your 5 remaining orders. It's probably not doable, but...
and it's going to be a long skill.
Okay.
And he's going to speculatively fire an EM grenade.
Yep. Here comes the Specfire.
Yes. I forgot.
So yeah, once again, we'll pause. Specfire has gone down and knocked the Moang out of suppression fire, but it has made its dodge and it could move. It'll probably attempt to move this way, but who knows? We will see. We'll again pause the recording here and we'll come back and we'll see if there is a miracle that we can pull by the Aleph player. But I think we are looking at a major win and very well played for Kyle. But I have been wrong about these things before.
I'm just going to rewind.
We will see what happens.
Oh, what'd you do?
Alright, and we're wrapped up. There's still some movement to be done, but it isn't going to affect the game outcome. So, really gameplay on the last turn to try and equalise. Dakini HMG smashed out of the window and got shots into the back of the Lushing. 4 shots in good range, unopposed, no cover, but it only took 1 wound. And the Proxy took a shot, face-to-face roll into the Moang. It was out of cover. Proxy was in cover. Multiple face-to-face rolls, but inconclusive. The play Ryan was trying to make was to push up this direction here and be the only person with models in this zone. Outpoint here, which would have not won him the game, but it would have got him up to 4 points, which is close. And in particular, would have given the defensive bonus of keeping his opponent to within close range. Actually, it might even have managed a tie because the post-human could have secured the HVT. So the full play was Dakini had to kill the Lushing, post-human had to kill the Moang, post-human had to get within 8 inches of this Imperial Service Judge, and then there had to be enough points in this zone, which is a challenge, by the way, to also outpoint this Guilang forward observer. if all of those things could have been done, Ryan could have played to a draw, which is a really, that's impressive that he found that line of play. Did not get there in the end, which is fair enough, but really well played to try and find those. And again, very well played. Thunder Squid's defense and focus on this part of the table, I think was excellent as well. This, playing in this building and along this line here, did a great deal to nullify the many HMGs that the Aleph player had. And the Marut, I think, took at most 2 face-to-face rolls in a good range. And that plays to really good control. Risks taken by both players. Great execution over the first turn, and then a wonderful chaotic hot mess for the remainder of the game. Very well played to both guys. I think a very even match. The sort of score doesn't reflect it, but a very evenly played match, and very close to even skill level as well. I would say those are both great players. So that concludes it. This will be the last, or most likely be the last Human Edge commentated game. Always looking for more games in future, so please reach out if you're interested in having your games commentated and you have a play partner lined up. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching.